Alright, today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about centroids. What centroids mean is that the geometric center of a shape. Alright, so why we care about that is this. Alright, so if I'm standing on this, this is an I-beam that's going across. Alright, here I am standing right there. I've got a really big mouth. Alright, but what happens is when I stand on this beam, all the molecules or all the atoms on the bottom are all going to be pulling away from each other. They're going to be in tension. Whereas all the molecules on the top are going to be coming together under compression. Alright? So what happens is, at some place where these meet together, there's this normal plane. That was just, it was like before I stood on it. It's just the same way. And that normal plane goes right through what's called the centroid. Alright? So why that's important is this. Let's say I make a beam out of concrete and it's an I-beam. If I stand on that, right, the top is going to be fine because concrete's phenomenal at compression. Alright? The bottom is going to be having a rough time because concrete's terrible at tension. That's why concrete cracks. Alright? So what we do is, after we find the centroid, we can figure out, hey, I need to put rebar in these positions. Alright? So what I've done is, alright, I have this little I-beam shape here. Alright? And this is what I'm standing on. Okay? And we need to find the exact center of this. Now, there's something that's really nice about this, is that I'm going to need to find up and down, because what's going on is that this is symmetrical, alright? So, what that means is that if I fold over on itself, it's going to look exactly the same. So, the middle point is going to be right on that line of symmetry. Whereas, I see that this big shape right here is going to have so much more pull on this little shape right here. So, if this is 8 inches tall, if I see 4 inches right here in the middle, what's going to happen is it's going to be a little bit below 4 inches, alright? So, how we do that is we're going to use this equation right here. And this equation is just saying the sum of the centroid times the area of the shape over the total area. Alright? So, what that is all the area times centroids times total area. This is kind of intimidating. Let's word it out a little bit just to make it easier. So, what I'm going to do is this. I've got my 3 shapes here. I'm going to break them down into basic shapes. Alright? And it's kind of nice that I'm using rectangles because rectangles, the centroid is just right in the middle. So, it's pretty easy. So, what happens is, this is too tall, 2 by 5. I know that it's going to be just 1 above. Alright? This is 5 tall right here, so I know that it's 2.5 above that. And this is 1 tall, so I know it's just 1.5 above it. Okay? So, a couple things I can do really quick is I can find the area of all the shapes. Alright? So my first area of 1 is going to be 3. 1 times 3 is 3. And 2 times 5 is 10. And 2 times 5 again is 10, right? Now, I've already marked where my centroids are, but they don't really mean a hill of beans unless I relate them all to each other. So in other words, I find a spot to relate them all to. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make this reference plane right here at the bottom. Alright, I kind of like using the bottom of it just because it's visually easier for me. Alright, so I'm going to measure all my centroids from those spots. So in other words, I go up 1 inch right here for the shape 3. So that's 1. Alright. Here, I'm going up to 2.5. So in other words, I've got 2.5 plus a 2. So that's being 4.5 up to that point. Alright. And the last one, my itty bitty block, what I have is, it is 2 plus 5, 0.5. So that ends up being 7.5 right there. Alright. And so, I've got this sort of structured out and laid out to help me out, alright? So, what I said the bottom was, this is the sum of all the areas, or the total area. I can just add that all together. So I got 23 right there, which is really easy. Alright, the other thing I need to do is, this is the sum of all the y's times all the areas times all the centroids. All the areas times all the centroids. So, 3 times 7.5, that equals 22.5. 10 times 4.5 is 45, 10 times 1 is 1. And as I said, it's the sum of it, alright, of all of them. I'm going to add those all together. That gives me 77.5. Once I have that, I divide this box by that box. And that gives me 77.5 divided by 23. I'm going to plug that into my little magic calculator that I have and find out that it is 3.36. That works for me because of something. Alright, I know this shape is 8 inches tall, alright? So, as I said, this bottom's going to pull a little bit more. So, if I make a line down the middle right at 4, so it's 8 inches tall, I get 4 in my middle. What happens is I know it's going to be below, alright? So, in other words, this 3.6 works perfectly with that. So now I found my centroid, which is great.